In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Our beautiful Coptic Church has so many wonderful hymns and praises that were written in English, and were written in Coptic, I'm sorry. However, we try as much as we can for people that actually don't know it to sing and praise in English, but some hymns are actually originally written in Coptic, and it kind of gets hard to translate it and sing it the same way it was. So this is an option that we have, that in this way, if you think you want to learn Coptic, this session will teach you Coptic very easily, I think, in one session. I'm hoping maybe we're going to finish in about 45 minutes, give or take. First of all, one of my big resources was actually St. Mark's Church, DC, so I have to give them a shout out. Thank you so much. And I hope it works, and I hope you guys learn, and then it becomes a blessing. So let's start. So we're going to start first by the vowels. And the vowels basically are the words, or the letters that make the word move. If you guys know Arabic, they call the vowel in Arabic actually a moving letter, basically, just حرف متحرك, which basically moves the word. Without it, the word gets stuck. So when we let's say try to pronounce one of the consonant letters, like the N. So if we want to pronounce only the letter N, we say N. So without that vowel, we get stuck at that N, and we can't move. Or for the M. So the vowel makes it move, which let's say for the word and. So without the A in the beginning, the N and D in and become D. So that's why actually the vowels, actually the job of the vowel is basically to move the word and makes it more pronounceable, easy to pronounce. So we're going to start with the vowels. The first one is I know it's going to be a little bit unorthodox, but I'm not going to really focus on the name of the letter so much. I'm going to actually just focus more on the pronunciation of every letter. So we're going to actually start with the alpha, or A. That's how they divide it. That's uppercase, and that's basically lowercase. And the sound for the alpha sound is going to be either A like in fan, or A like in father. Whenever I do this, whenever I circle the word, that means actually that's the pronunciation of that letter in that word. So that's uppercase, that's lowercase, and that's how it's actually just the letter, the letter is pronounced. If we want to make things easier, I guess we could do the English sound, which is basically A right here, I guess. So that would be the English one, English sound. So Coptic uppercase, Coptic lowercase. I'm going to say this a few times, and this way when we go, we just don't have to do it again. English letter that actually just matches the letter in English. How it's pronounced in every word, I'm going to circle that letter in the word. So that was the A, or the alpha. The next one is basically the A. And this actually letter is basically pronounced as A. And it's A but open A. Like if we say the word, let's say pen, or the word rain. If we take that sound in rain, or the sound in pen, that's the pronunciation of the A in Coptic. And it's basically it's the same letter actually in the upper or lower. It's the same thing. Then we're gonna actually go to the sound, basically the letter iota or I, and in Coptic. The sound mainly that this letter is mainly used to give you the sound E, like me, for example. Upper and lower, actually they're basically the same, but we'll do it anyway. And it's basically either the sound me, E as in me, or the regular sound of the Y. So yeah, yeah. So either E or that yeah, yeah sound. So that was the E. Then we're gonna do the sound. This is the eta, and it basically sounds exactly the same as this sound in the me, but a little stretched. Uppercase, lowercase, and it's basically, it would be like the word meat. But since we're doing this to actually just learn how to praise or sing in Coptic, while you're praising, while you're saying the hymns, singing the hymns, you're not going to really see the difference between the eta sound, the E sound for the eta and the iota. It's going to be the same almost. And here's the third one that sounds exactly the same, which is the epsilon. When it comes alone, it's also pronounced the same way like meat. Upper and lower. And it's basically two E's. And this is going to be the two E's here. This is not an H sound. It's not the H sound in English. So I'm going to do this, but only to tell you that it's not pronounced like that H. It's only E. All right, now the next one is basically that letter, as we call it. It's actually not a letter, more of a accentuation. It's called the Jinkim. And don't worry about the name of the letter. If I say it, please disregard it. Just learn how to say the letter more than to know the name of the letter. I have a little bit of experience actually back home of teaching people that didn't know how to read at all. And it's a big deal to tell people the pronunciation of the letter more than the name of the letter. So if I say it, just disregard it. If you want to learn it at the end, it's all up to you guys. It's actually everywhere you can find it. So the Jinkim, which was basically an accentuation that adds an A sound before the word. I'm going to be adventurous, and I'm going to give you a word to give you an example. So we're going to see this word now, and you're not going to know what it is. But in a little bit, we're going to actually just come back to that word, and you're going to see it. So let's say this word now is called ismu. So this is the C that Jinkim basically added an A sound. Ismu, ismu. If it goes on top of, let's say, a vowel, it stretches that vowel. Let's say this word ohi, it stretches. It's like becomes ohi. Instead of ohi, it becomes ohi. So the Jinkim on top of a consonant, it adds the A sound, ismu, or on top, or actually just on top of a vowel, it makes it a little bit stretched. Next, we're going to actually do the O sounds. It starts with this sound, basically, the O sound, but it's really open O. It's like O, like in gold, let's say. So that's the O sound. The next one would be the O, our English O. Basically, like the word throw, let's say. And the next one, which is actually just the one that is that's very unique, it's the oo sound. So oo is basically a combination of two letters that give you a new sound, which is basically that combination oo. So this is an epsilon. When you add the O to it, it gives you the oo sound. One common word that I like to use, it's basically that word O, oo, which means glory in English. For some of us, if we actually hear Abuna every once in a while pray that part in Coptic, he says U o unim otayu nem u o u, which is basically glory. So this word is o u. There's a big difference between this and this. O, oo. How about this one? It's just a regular O, regular O. So this is O, this is oo, and this is our regular O. What I'm gonna do actually, the reason I actually have these papers is because I tried as much as I can to make the layout for the board the same as these papers, and this way I can actually just take scan them basically and just give them to you guys, and this we can actually take a look as well too, so you see it, you learn from the video, and you actually just take a look at the papers as well too. So we're gonna erase this. And by the way, guys, I should have said this meanwhile, maybe I was writing. A big shout out to actually our beautiful church, our Church of Folk Rolos in San Habib Girgis in Paramus, Washington Township. And the person who's really helping me with all of this is a beautiful person, Adil Samir. He's really awesome. So I really thank him for the blessing. Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go next to let's actually go with the letters that resembles the English letters to make our life a little easier. So let's go with this letter. So this letter, it's the same thing in Coptic, the same thing in English, which is the kabba or the k sound. So that's a K in English, and basically like Karen. Next is the N. And let's say we go with Nancy. I guess any of them. Then the next one is gonna be the Z. And it's going to be Z in English, and zebra. Easy, right? So the K, N, and Z. Like I told you before, it's very crucial to remember that you don't worry about the name of the letter, but know how it's pronounced, and that's what matters the most. Let me give you another letter that we can make a simple word out of. So let me give you that word, because it's similar to English actually. It's not really exact, but it's very, very close. So when we do the M sound that we call me, it's basically almost look like an M. So especially when you do it like this is the lowercase version of it. If you really close this, it becomes our regular M, close to our regular M in English. So that's the M sound. And the reason I wanted to give you that letter, because now knowing that this is an N that we did here, and if I give you this, that you already know from the vowels, the A, name, and the M, this becomes name, which is basically and. So name. So now see, you know a word already, which is and. Now we're gonna actually do the T sound, the T sound, and in lower letter is going to be this way, and in English it's this way, and we could do Tom. Now this letter is the B, but not only B, it's either B or V. The lowercase is actually just right here. And when do we say B? It's basically when we say B, let's do the V first. The V as in Victor. Apologies, this I meant to write V. So it's pronounced V as in Victor if it's followed by a vowel. Any vowel that follows the B, the vita, the B, it makes it V. So this word, let's say vol. We're going to learn this letter soon, which is the the L in English. It makes the word V, the letter vita, V. Or if we have the word novi, or we have the word nivain. So because the vita here, the b sound of the vita is followed by a vowel, the b becomes a v, and it's pronounced b in every other case. All other, it's b as in boy. V as in Victor here. And this boy. Alright, the next one is going to be that letter. It's not really as close, but I think if I explain it to you guys, you can actually get it. If we do this in Coptic, and we really know that sound, which is a iota, which gives you an E, if you put this on top of this, it becomes a new letter, especially in the Coptic. Actually, it's one of the original Coptic letters, because the Coptic language is basically a language that is composed of mainly Greek letters and a few Coptic letters. If you care to know them, remember them, I'll tell you at the end. But if you know how to pronounce the letters, that's what matters. So if I add this iota here on top of the tav or the te, it gives us this new letter, which is the T, but it's basically T, and it pronounced in the word as a T, as in T. So it becomes the whole word is that sound of that letter, and here's the uppercase for it. The next letter that is close to English is basically the sima, which is the C, and it's pronounced one of two, either C as in ceiling, and sometimes some people like to use that rule. You're not going to hear it much, so if it's actually pronounced as a Z, like the case ismu, some people actually say that they use this rule a lot, but it's not really commonly used. If you ever hear it ismu, that means was actually preceded by a vowel, especially the E sound. So if you ever hear it ismu, this becomes Z, it's just because of this. But for the most part, the sima, the C, is actually only pronounced as an S sound. But it's never K. Never K. All right. So let's review quick. That was the K sound, N sound, Z sound, M sound. The T. This is either B or V. We give you a few examples of the if it's followed by a vowel, the vita or the B sound becomes a V, which is vol, novi, or nivain. Otherwise, it's all pronounced as a B, as in boy. This letter, it's called T, and it's basically, if it's going to help you remember it, you basically add the iota on top of the tav, and it gives you the T. And it's pronounced as the T. The sima, it's pronounced mainly C, S, the sound S. Every once in a while, you can actually hear someone pronouncing it as a Z. It's not that common, but you might find someone that pronounce it that way, which becomes it as instead. So it becomes ismu instead of ismu, the common word that we use. Okay, we're gonna erase this. All right, let's have some fun words. Actually, some of the Coptic letters that I was talking to you about, which basically are this letter, which is kind of new to you guys, so I might go over it one more time later on. So this one is called shy, and in lowercase it's also shy, and that's the sound sh in shy. So that's that sound. So that's the sh sound. And next is that sound, which is basically the high, which sounds like this. The lowercase for this one is a little different, so I'm going to actually do it, and this way you get to see it. And that's a KH in, excuse me, the KH in it's not a common sound in English, but the other languages have it, like German, Russian, Arabic, of course, like Molokhia. That should make some of us laugh. So that's the KH, which is sound. Imagine they're trying to, I don't know, you use your imagination. The next one is basically the hori sound, the he sound, sorry, which is the letter hori, and it's written like that, and that's a H sound as in Harry. Now, the next one would be that letter, which is basically F, as in, let's say, family. Remember this, because it's going to make your life a lot easy when you experience the letters while you're praying or while reading Coptic. There's two F's in Coptic, and the reason is one of the letters is actually Greek, and one of the letters is actually imported from our original language, the Coptic language, and that's why you have two F's. But they're both pronounced as F, like in family. None of them is pronounced V. The only letter sound that is pronounced V is going to come up, but please remember that this and this is the one I was talking about, and that's a phi in Greek. Some of us, if you know it, that's the phi. They both as F, as in family or fame. Now we're gonna go to this letter, which is basically that's a CH in church. Same thing as in small, and that's a sound. We already took the T, and okay. This letter is very cool because it can actually give us something in English that we never really thought about. So it's called the Jinja or the G, and it's pronounced either a hard G like Gary or a soft G like in George. Have you ever thought about it? George doesn't have an E sound, so they basically, the name originated to pronounce that J, the soft G, they had to add that E, because otherwise the name would become Gauche. But it's George because of that E. That actually what makes the G here is pronounced as a G. So to sum up, basically, if the Jinja is followed by E sounds, the A or the iota or the eta or the, remember these are all the E sounds. Epsilon, it's gonna be pronounced J, as in George. Otherwise, the rest is just basically G like in Gary. So now we know why George is actually George. That E actually is present in exists in the name George. There is another letter that only exist to give us the letter, the number 6, which is so. It's basically like we write it like this way. If we were to write it in Coptic, let's say it would be so. But that's the letter 6, and that's basically a letter. But the only function for that letter in the Coptic is basically to give us the number 6. Now we're gonna learned. Let's actually just wrap up this page. So let's review this one. This is the letter shy, which gives us the sound sh. This is the letter ha, which is the letter the kh together, like in ملوخية. Let's write that word actually. ملوخية. And this is the letter hori, which is basically the H as in Harry. This is the F, one of the F's in the Coptic language, and this is actually originally Coptic. That's Greek for F as well too. That's why we have 2 sounds of F in Coptic. And this is a tish, like in church. And this is the jinja. If it's followed by any of the E sounds, it's going to be pronounced j. Otherwise, it's all g, like in Gary, and that's the number which is basically 6. All right. Almost there. I think we're almost done. We only have a few letters left, if you can believe that. All right. So next letter is it's a little bit of a tricky letter. And before I start explaining it, it's you're gonna need to basically just remember the word, how it's pronounced, and try to say it that way. And the other way is basically to learn the source of the length of the word, which is not really difficult. But to me, I think I just learned it. I hear the word once pronounced this way, then I memorize it. So that letter is the K. Sometimes they actually write it this way instead. So I'll practice it with you guys in the lower letter. So this letter is pronounced either SH, KH, which is the ch sound, or the k sound. So this is why I give you that introduction, because if the K is followed by any E sound, so this if it's followed by, let's actually use this too as well too. So these are the 2 cases apply to the words if they're Greek in origin. And I don't know if you know by now, but our hymns or our language has a lot of Greek words. Sometimes actually the whole hymn would be Greek, like the hymn Christos Anesti. The whole hymn is actually just Greek from beginning to end, and there's so many beautiful hymns that we have actually originally Greek. So if the word is originally Greek, if it's followed by an E sound, any of the E sound followed by any E sound, let's write this in English because all the E will apply. It would pronounce SH, like sh. Now the rest of the Greek word would be the rest of Greek words. How about the K? You guessed it already. All Coptic words. Now, someone would actually just be a lot of you actually, not someone, all of you are going to be very intelligent and tell me, well, you already gave us the Coptic letters, like the Coptic origin, or the letters that were important from our Coptic language. So I guess if you see a word that has some of these letters, like let's say I gave you the phi or the t, you would know right away that that word is actually Coptic. So you would actually, when you see it, you pronounce it that way. So that's an easy way to do it. The rest is basically, if you see the rest of the letters, there are some exceptions, but that's basically what it is. At the end, I'm going to give you again, I'm going to review again with you the Coptic letters. And this way, you know, basically, if you see another word that has one of these Coptic letters, you know that the word more than likely is Coptic. And when you see the K with one of the Coptic letters, then you pronounce the K. If it's not, then you follow that rule. If it's actually followed by an E sound, it's going to be sh, sh, sh. If it's followed by, for the rest of the Greek word, it's basically cha. One of the common words is basically Christos, which is Christ. So in that case, it's going to be Christos. Another case for this, and this way you know what it is basically, this is a very common one, which is basically Shere. And since we're doing Christos and Shere, I should tell you that actually this letter in Coptic is not a P, it's an R sound, R, like Robert. So this is Shere, and you already know the rest of the letters already, since this is an R and this is an E sound that sounds like rain or pen. So, and since it's a Greek word and has the K sound, the K letter, and it's followed by an E, then it's Shere. If it's not followed by an E sound, then it's Christos. We already know that this word is Christos, like we say Christos Anesti. That's a very Greek word. And the rest of the Coptic letters, Coptic words, I'm sorry, if you see one of our Coptic letters, then you know that's basically it's pronounced as a K. Like I said, I'm going to review it again with you one more time before I leave you. Alright, so here it is, and this way just in case. But I already gave it to you. It's basically the Shai, the Hori. Let's actually write it down here, because if you have that page, it would make sense if you take a picture of it, and just in this way you know which is which. This is basically the Coptic letters. Coptic. Let's do this. We'll do this. Coptic letters are going to be the Shai, the Hoi, the T, the one that sounds as T, like in T, the Jinja, that's the one that actually just sounds as a G, as in Gary, if it's followed by anything but the E sound, or sounds like a J, George, if it's followed by an E sound. We have the Coptic F. We said there's a Greek one, which is the Fe, and this is the Phi. We have the basically the Chai, this, or, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're missing the Shima, which is basically the sh. As a review, this is a T. This is H as in Harry. This is SH as in Shai. This is either Gary or George. And this is basically KH, like in Mulukhaya we said. And this is T as in church. So now, and this is F as in fan. So now, you see any of these letters in a word, more than likely, this word is going to be Coptic. For that reason, that the letter K is going to be pronounced K, only K, as in king. Otherwise, if the word is Greek, which basically wouldn't have these letters for the most part, there's some exceptions. It would be, the rule would be, the word would be Greek then, and if it's followed by any of the A sounds, it's going to be pronounced SH. If it's actually, if it has, if it doesn't have any sound following the K, then it's going to be Christos, like a Christos, cage. All right. This, and let's do this. The next one is a P sound, which is basically the P sound in Peter. And be careful to say P. Don't forget to say P. Okay. This letter is basically the X sound. So it's basically a Z, but you add that part to it. So one more time, I'll do it in front of you in the small one. This way. You go like this, and you go like this. So that would be the X in English. Now, the theta, either if it's preceded or if it's actually the C comes before the theta, or a shy before it. So if these two come before this one, it becomes a T. So like the words, you're gonna be excited actually just to see if let's see if you can know how to stoi no fi. So this basically word, since the theta was apologies, like the rule is if it's preceded or the C comes before it, it becomes T. So this becomes S toinofi. So this is not a th anymore, it becomes a T. So this, the end of this would become a T. All other cases, it's a TH, like in think. So one more time, I confused it a little bit, my apologies. So if the theta is actually preceded by a sema or a shy, this theta becomes T. So in this word, let's say estoinofi, since the theta here is followed by a sema, that theta becomes a T. Estoinofi. Here's another one, which is this letter. So this letter is either pronounced let's do it that way actually. It's either do this lowercase, just in case if you forgot. So it's either pronounced G, N, or this is a new sound. I don't know if you guys, some of you would know how to say it. If you grew up around Egyptians, the re sound, or actually French. This letter is very, very common in the French language. Re, merci. So this letter is either pronounced g, like Gary, like Gary. If it's followed by, let's erase this, by A or E, it becomes a g, like the word. Let's say, let's just start using more Coptic now. So now, knowing what you know, this is a g, and this is A, like in pen, and this is n, and this is O, and this is C, not K. So this becomes genos. Now, the Ghamma is pronounced as N if it's actually accompanied by another Ghamma. So if let's say that word and before I do this, let me just give you that letter. This letter is basically the L. Like lay. So that's the L sound. So if the Ghamma comes with another Ghamma in the same word, the first one becomes an N, the second one stays as G. So this word becomes angelos, angelos. And basically in every other word, all others, it becomes like the name Gabriel. Gabriel. Who would remember how to say this? So this is a g, like we said, is g, a, ga, and this is a b, and b, not v, because that's a name. Remember, we said it's only if it's followed by a vowel, it's a v. Otherwise, in every other situation, it's a b. It's a b. So Gabri, that's an r, not a p. Gabriel. All right. So I think we're almost done. If we're not done, guys. One of the reasons, by the way, I actually recorded this is let's say if we start to teach Coptic and we have some people that attend the class, so some kids, for some reason they tend to miss the following week. Then they come the week after, then we miss them, we repeat again, and just I kept doing this for quite a while. Then I said, like, you know what, let's just leave it somewhere online on YouTube, and this way we don't have to do this. Just we tell the people that just when you can, take a look, and if you need help, we'll just help you with more. Okay, so now that next one is basically together, and let's use practice with the word psi. Who would tell me how this will pronounce like? Since this word, if I tell you this word is Coptic, for example, if I tell you that the word is Coptic and you have that letter in it, would you remember? The word would be actually K, because all Coptic words, when it has the letter K, it becomes K. In Greek, it's either sh or cha. All right. So that's psishi. The next one, we already did the cha. I think we're almost done, guys. All right, we didn't do that yet. This letter, which is basically either either D as in David, or TH, either D as in David, or TH like in then. When though, here's series 1. Very simple. It's pronounced D, 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 D as in David in all names. And the rest is basically the TH. With this. Next is basically, I think we're almost done. There's a few more letters and we're done. When we did this, let's go in the middle here actually. Remember when we did this letter? Hopefully you guys remember. It was the oo sound. When you add the O and the epsilon, it gives you that very closed O, like closed mouth. Oo. However, if that epsilon is actually preceded, or an alpha comes before it, it makes it of. So the new sound will be of. And if it's preceded by A, it becomes ev. I'll give you a very nice name that we just used now, which is basically David. You guys are awesome. Even if I didn't say it, you would have known how to say it by now, which is basically Day. That's a name. That's why I did this delta, or is a D? Is a D, not a the. Day. Am I saying it right, by the way? Am I tricking you? Am I? All right, I am tricking you. It would be David if it's in English, but can someone say it in Coptic? And is that right? No, it's not. So I'm trying to see if you're awake. So this actually name is David. So this is a D, and this is of. This is the E for David, and this is delta, David. So now, this is U, and this is of, like David, and this one, we hear this word a lot in Holy Week, which is Ev, on. Who would tell me how to write this? So, if I ask you to, this is a very beautiful word actually, because it has a few rules that we actually just took, a few complicated letters. So this becomes ev. I don't like to do this, but I'll do it anyway, and this way you guys know the sound. So this becomes E, ev. Ev. On. Two gammas, the first one becomes an N, the second one it stays G, so angelion. So ev angelion. So O and epsilon is U, alpha and epsilon is of, A and epsilon is ev. And I think we're done. So let's do some practice. Let's do some practice some words. We can actually get the Coptic reader from the phone and write some words. Since we're already in Holy Land, let's do the hem Jinkim. It's nice and small, and we'll get to practice with it basically. So Jinkim is basically, remember that letter? It's the Jinja. It's pronounced only soft G if it's followed by A. So that's a J. Otherwise it would have been a G. Like, I'll give you that word. When at the end of the Thanksgiving prayer. He said, and Nemti, I think, Tirvinte bi Gaji is the very last word. And all the power of the enemies. So this word is actually a very good example because since it's followed by an A sound, it's G. Since here it's followed by a E sound, it's J. So it's Gaji. Also, before I forget, there's abbreviations and numbers on the website of St. Mark DC. Like I said, there was a big blessing and big source for me. So I'm gonna actually just attach their link as well too in the bottom of the YouTube video. So let's continue with J Pinyot. So this one, J Pinyot. So if we're gonna say Pinyot without even looking, I can P A N and Y. We said the E. It could be either the E sound or the Y sound. Yot. Not Yot, not Yot. It's Yod. Pinyot. Et. Here's the Ch sound. Chen. Et. This is a T, not a J, remember? This is a Ch sound. Chen. And then Ni. Fi. Owi. This is the same thing in English as in Coptic. Ni. Fi. Owi. Then we're gonna Marif Tu, Marif Tovo. So Ma is the M, remember? Ma, this is an R, not a P. Ref. Does anyone remember this? If I tell you what this word is based on that letter, can you tell me? That's a Coptic, originally Coptic letter, so that's why this word is a Coptic word. So Ma'arif to vo. So Ma'arif to vo. Ma'arif, that's an R, that's an F. This is a T, to vo. And you remember when I told you about the Jinkim, if it goes in the before the word, it actually just adds an A sound. So that's going to be N, J, and Y, J, because it's followed by an E sound. That's why the ginger actually becomes in J. Pick, Ron. Pick, Ron. Pick, Ron. بعد كده afterwards we're gonna do ma, ris, e, and it's m. This is a m, ma. This is an R, not a P. Ma, ris, e. When the E, when the Jinkim comes on top of a vowel, it stretches it. Remember, ma, ris, e. Notice E, in. It's nice actually that this came after this word because this stretches the vowel. This actually adds an E to the consonant, which becomes NJ. Big, Ron. That's a P sound, P. And this is E like rain or like pencil. And this is a K. R, not a P. A, pick Ron, your name. Pick is actually your, and Ron is name. I'm sorry, I'm not really giving you a lot of words or a lot of actually words to know in Coptic because you know what? I want to make it simple. I want to make sure you guys know how to read, and the rest is actually all yours. Whenever you actually just pray, you look on the other side, in the English side, and just try to see to guess the words. If you guys are interested to know the grammar more, maybe we'll do another session, God willing, in the future. But for now, let's know how to read. Ma, J, pick, Ron. And then we're gonna actually write this and finish, and this way it's not too long. Ma, res, E, ma is E. In J. It's J, not G, because followed by an E sound. Tik. Met. Uru. Remember, this is a K, so it says the same in English. This is a T. Ma, J, tik. Met. Uro. This is a no. Then J. Let's make it a little bit farther away. Folk. Very common mistake that people would say it's voke. It's not voke because this letter in Greek is F, not V. And in the Coptic letter that was added, the 8 or 9 Coptic letters that were added to the language, the lost version of the Egyptian language, it's an F as well too. That's why the letter, the sound repeats. But this is an F, not a V. So J, folk. Folk with an F as in fan. Folk. Pay. P. O. U. And there's a Jinkim here. When the Jinkim goes on top of a vowel, what does it do to it? It stretches. B. O. U. And Sha. Sh. Dash sound. Sha. Ni. A. Ne. Do you remember that sound? Ne. A. Ne. I think that's it. That's basically just our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, for thine is the glory forever. And I guess we're going to end with this. Remember, just a few things to remember. That I'm going to actually leave a few links for the abbreviations. A lot of abbreviations actually in Coptic. So if you guys already know it, it would be cool to actually just try to practice saying these abbreviation. You're going to find it on the website of St. Mark DC, and the numbers as well too. And I'm going to leave you their link. It's a very cool website. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope it's a blessing for people to learn the Coptic language. And thank you so much for watching. God bless.